Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service. So before we begin, today is the Parana time of yesterday's Ekadashi, and it is somewhere around 7:20. Okay, so in case if you are not broken your fast, please have a look at the calendar. You still have 3 minutes to break the fast. So Ekadashi has to be broken at a specific period on Dwadashi, which is called as a Parana time, Parana Samay. So if you see the calendars, generally ISKCON calendars, they will give Parana Samay like 6. Now today's Parana Samay is from 6 to 7:20, and it's somewhere in the middle that we break. Parana Samay will change a little bit here and there based on the location, based on the geolocation that one is residing at. So for devotees in Pune, Bombay, and this area of India, it is still 7:20. So please make sure that you break the fast. So we are in the section where Kapila Muni is answering the further queries of his mother, Devahūti. So this section is from text 31 to 44, and we are at text 33. Jarayatyashu ya kosham nigirnam analo yatha. Translation.
Bhakti, devotional service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate effort. Just as fire in the stomach digests all that we eat for food. Bhakti is in a far higher position than mukti because a person's endeavor to get liberation from the material engagement is automatically served in devotional service. Example is given here that the fire in the stomach can digest whatever we eat. If the digestive power is sufficient, then whatever we can eat will be digested by the fire in the stomach. Similarly, a devotee does not have to try separately to attain liberation. That very service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the process of his liberation, because to engage oneself in the service of the Lord is to liberate oneself from material entanglement. Sri Bilvamangal Thakur explained this position very nicely. He said, if I have unflinching devotion unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then mukti or liberation serves me as my maid servant. Mukti, the maid servant, is always ready to do whatever I ask. For a devotee, liberation is no problem at all. Liberation takes place without separate endeavor. Bhakti, therefore, is far better than mukti or the impersonalist position. The impersonalists undergo severe penances and austerities to attain mukti, but the bhakta, simply by engaging himself in the bhakti process, especially in the chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, immediately develops control over the tongue by engaging it in chanting and accepting the remnants of foodstuff offered to the personality of Godhead. As soon as the tongue is controlled naturally, all other senses are controlled automatically. Sense control is the perfection of the yoga principle, and one's liberation begins immediately as soon as he engages himself in the service of the Lord. It is confirmed by Kapiladeva that bhakti or devotional service is gariyasi or glorious than siddhi, that is liberation. Hare Krishna.
So now Kapila Muni says, Jarayatti Ashu Ya Kosham. Kosham is the subtle body. Nigiranam Analayatha. Just like Bhakti, the devotional service, dissolves the subtle body of the living entity without separate endeavor, just as the fire in the stomach digests whatever we eat. So there is a very important role of subtle body in the process of samsara. What is the role of subtle body? Role of subtle body is first we develop the subtle body, and based on the subtle body, then we develop the gross body. And therefore, it is said that whatever kind of mentality we have at the time of death, yam yam vapismaram bhavam tejati ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya tadat bhava bhavitaha. That at the time of tejati ante kalevaram, whatever type of subtle body that we are developing, the next gross body is getting prepared based on our deserve, whatever we desire and whatever we deserve. Correct. So, but bhakti is so powerful that bhakti naturally dissolves the subtle body by engaging the subtle body in the service of the Lord by removing the misidentification. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, bhakti is far higher position than mukti because one automatically gets mukti when one is situated in bhakti. Now, the example here given is there is a fire in the stomach which will digest whatever we eat. So we know that digestion will need heat. Heat means fire. So whenever we are eating, it is not that we eat food and then we eat some fire. No, fire is already there in the Jatharagni. Correct. And whenever we eat, automatically the Jatharagni will take care and Jatharagni will dissolve the food that we are eating. Similarly, devotional service dissolves the subtle body of the living entity and thus completely eliminates the process of transmigration. Whereas the yogis, they are concerned about getting rid of the subtle body. They have to dissolve one element into another. We will see later how these yogis, they dissolve one element into another, and then finally everything into ahankar, and finally everything at a auspicious time, at a correct location. They have to leave the body from the correct randhra, from the correct hole of the body, Brahma randhra they have to leave, and then think of a destination. And there are so many rules and regulations even to attain mukti. But mukti, Bilvamangal Thakur says, is standing with folded hands, right? Since when I have become devotee and I have not given I have not given any attention towards mukti. Prabhupada says, for a devotee, liberation is no problem at all. Liberation takes place without separate endeavor. Right. Bhakti is far superior than mukti or the impersonalist position. To attain mukti, mukti is the byproduct of bhakti. Jnana and vairagya is the byproduct of bhakti. But if somebody is separately endeavoring to attain mukti, then he will have to work extremely hard. Bhagavad Gita talks about this. Klesho adhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbhir avapyate. There is so much dukkha, klesha in the shloka itself, right? Just imagine the path. The path is miserable, the goal is miserable, and there are so many similar, the same thing with other, but in Bhagavad Bhakti, susukham kartum avyayam. That's how Bhagavad Gita explains. Susukham kartum avyayam. Prabhupada says here, when we are engaged in the devotional process, bhakti process, especially chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one will go ahead with the first control, and that is Indriya Nigraha. One will start controlling one's senses. And by controlling one's senses, how one controls the senses? Control the senses by primarily controlling one's jivva, tongue. Tara madhye jivva ati. Amongst all the senses, the tongue is very powerful. One who conquers the tongue will eventually conquer all the senses. Right. That's why there are days like Ekadashi. Yesterday there was Nirjala Ekadashi. Many devotees did Nirjala Ekadashi. How many of you did Nirjala Ekadashi? Just type NJ in the chat box. Nirjala. Okay. Let us see how many of you have done Nirjala. So this is, yeah. So why such days are there? These are called as Madhava Tithi. They help to build a control over Indriyas. And the first Indriya to control is Taramadhe Jivva Ati, tongue. How the tongue is controlled? Tongue is controlled by first chanting, vibrating Hare Krishna Mahamantra, chanting Mahamantra, and tasting Krishna Prasad. So these are the principles. And then when one is controlled position like this, liberation is guaranteed for such a devotee, one who is on the path of devotional service. After liberation, what is the liberation means? Now, next verse, very, very important verse. Okay, we will be reciting this one. Naikatmata me spruhayanti kechin मत्पाद सेवा भिरता मदीहा येन्योन्यतो भागवता प्रसज्य सभाजयन्ते मम पौरुषाणि Translation?
Translation: a pure devotee who is attached to the activities of devotional service and who always engages in the service of my lotus feet never desires to become one with me. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastime and activities. Purport: there are 5 kinds of liberation stated in the scriptures. One is to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or to forsake one's individuality and merge into the Supreme Spirit. This is called ekatmatam. A devotee never accepts this kind of liberation. The other 4 liberations are to be promoted to the same planet as God, Vaikuntha, to associate personally with the Supreme Lord, to achieve the same opulence as the Lord, and to attain the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord. A pure devotee, as will be examined by Kapila Muni, does not aspire for any of the 5 liberations. He especially despises as hellish the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shri Prabhunanda Saraswati, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, said, Kaivalyam Narakyate, the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, which is aspired for by the Mayavadis, is considered hellish. That oneness is not for pure devotees. There are many so-called devotees who think that in the conditioned state we may worship the personality of Godhead, but that ultimately there are so many called devotees who think that in the conditioned state we may worship the personality of Godhead, but that ultimately there is no personality. They say that since the absolute truth is impersonal, one can imagine a personal form of the impersonal absolute truth for the time being. But as soon as one becomes liberated, the worship stops. That is the theory put forward by the Mayavadi philosophy. Actually, the impersonalists do not merge into the existence of the Supreme Person, but into his personal bodily luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. Although that Brahma Jyoti is not different from his personal body, that sort of oneness, merging into the bodily luster of the personality of Godhead, is not accepted by a pure devotee because the devotees engage in greater pleasure than the so-called pleasure of merging into his existence. The greatest pleasure is to serve the Lord. Devotees are always thinking about how to serve him. They are always designing ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord, even in the midst of the greatest obstacles of material existence. The Mayavadis accept the description of the pastimes of the Lord as stories, but actually they are not stories, they are historical facts. Pure devotees accept the narrations of the pastimes of the Lord not as stories but as absolute truth. The words Mama Paurashni are significant. Devotees are very much attached to glorifying the activities of the Lord, whereas the Mayavadis cannot even think of these activities. According to them, the absolute truth is impersonal. Without personal existence, how can there be an activity? The impersonalists take the activities mentioned in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other Vedic literatures as fictitious stories, and therefore they interpret them most mischievously. They have no idea of the personality of Godhead. They unnecessarily poke their noses into the scripture and interpret it in a deceptive way in order to mislead the innocent public. The activities of Mayavad philosophy are very dangerous to the public, and therefore Lord Chaitanya warned us never to hear from any Mayavadi about any scripture. They will spoil the entire process, and the person hearing them will never be able to come to the path of devotional service to attain the highest perfection, or will be able to do so only after a very long time. It is clearly stated by Kapila Muni that bhakti activities or activities in devotional service are transcendental to mukti. This is called pancha, panchakama purushartha. Generally, people engage in the activities of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and ultimately they work with an idea that they are going to become one with the Supreme Lord, that is mukti. But bhakti is transcendental to all these activities. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, therefore, begins by stating that all kinds of pretentious religiosity is completely eradicated from the Bhagavatam. Ritualist activities for economic development and sense gratification, and after frustration in sense gratification, the desire to become one with the Supreme Lord are all completely rejected in the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is specially meant for the pure devotees who always engage in Kṛṣṇa consciousness in the activities of the Lord and always glorify these transcendental activities. Pure devotees worship the transcendental activities of the Lord in Vrindavan, Dwarka, and Mathura as they are narrated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and other Puranas. The Mayavadi philosophers completely reject them as stories, but actually they are great and worshipable subject matters and thus are relishable only for the devotees. That is the difference between a Mayavadi and a pure devotee. Hare Krishna.
Very amazing celebrated verse of Bhagavatam this is. Naikatmata me spruhayanti kechin matpada seva virata madiha yenyoonyato bhagavata prasajya sabhajayante mama paurushani. Naikatmatami spruhayanti. They never aspire to merge in the Supreme Lord. Na ekatmata. A pure devotee, who is that pure devotee? Who is attached to the activities of devotional service and always engages in the service of the lotus feet. What he does? He never desires to become one with me, naikatmatami. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities. Sabhajayante mama paurushani. Just see, importance of hearing about Lord's activities, especially Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, is again and again stressed, right? It's the previous verse when Kapila Muni begins his instructions to Mother Devahūti. He says, Satam prasangat mama virya samvido, text 25. And now here, same thing, mama paurushani. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that there are 5 kinds of liberation. Of these, 4 liberations are accepted by a devotee, but not the 5th one. You have this Abhanga also. Devachi Yadvari, Ubhakshana Bhari, Tene Mukti Chari Sadhi. Okay, so these 4 are accepted. The 5th one, which is called as Naika, Ekatmata, is not accepted by the devotees. Ekatmata means becoming one with the Supreme or merging in the existence of the Lord. Of course, nobody can merge in the Lord. What people think that they are merging is attaining the Brahma Jyoti, which is the personal bodily luster from the Supreme Lord. See, every body, right, even the material body, there will be some substances coming out from the body. Like, we have the material body. And in the morning, we can see some obnoxious substances will be coming out from all holes of the body, right? But in the spiritual body, they are Swayam Jyoti. Swayam Jyoti means, the beautiful prakash comes out from the body. And from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that prakasha is called as Brahma Jyoti. And that Brahma Jyoti is actually illuminating the entire sky. And there is a beautiful verse. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti. Yasya prabha. Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Kotishvashesha Vasudhadi Vibhuti Bhinnam. And there are, billions and billions of planets. Spiritual planets are floating, and then in the corner there are material planets are floating, so on and so forth. So from the Lord's body, so when we say Lord's body, they are not different because he is the absolute truth. From the Lord comes the spiritual effulgence, which is called as Brahma Jyoti. Brahmano hi pratishtaham. And one liberation, when people think that I want to merge with the Supreme, become one with the Lord, they go and sit in that Brahma Jyoti. It is like sitting in the light and thinking that, oh, I also become light. And after some time, they will get bored there and will look for activity. And for the want of material activity, because they do not have any, for the want of spiritual activity, they will be engaged in some material activity and will come down to material platform. Right? Yesterday we have seen this. Ye anni aravindaksha vimukta bhavina avishuddha buddhaya aruya krishnena parampadam patanti adho anadrita yushmadangrayah. So this kind of liberation is never accepted by devotee. And therefore, Prabodhananda Saraswati calls this liberation, becoming one with the Supreme, as Kaivalyam Narakayate. It is hellish. Why hellish? Because you think you have become supreme. There is such a huge misconception. It's not only in people. Sometimes there are some, even saintly people, they have this idea that, what is the idea they have? They have the idea that by chanting Ram, 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 you will realize that you only have become Ram. By chanting Ram, Nam, you have become Ram. And that is hellish. Nobody can become Ram. What is purgating Ram? Nobody can become anybody different than what he is. Because that's what the basic knowledge of spirituality is. That Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, that the soul cannot be cut, the soul cannot be joined together by Fevicol or something like that. You can never become Ram. You can never become Lakshman. You can never become anybody. You already have a spiritual position, which is called as Swarupa, and that's what you will become. Right? So this idea, this mentality, that by doing spiritual activity I will become God, is considered as hellish. Kaivalyam narakayate. This meaning of the Kaivalya. Of course, there is, because Sanskrit is the language with multi meanings, Kaivalya has another beautiful meaning also. So, but this meaning of Kaivalya, which is merging in the Supreme, is considered as hellish. Why hellish? Because it is worse than hell. Why worse than hell? Because devotee is never bothered about whether he goes to Swarga or Naraka. For devotee, plan of the Lord is supreme, and wherever the Lord wants to send him, devotee is very happy. We have seen this when Chitraketu Maharaj was cursed by Parvati Devi, and he very gladly accepted the curse. And what did Lord Shiva glorify? He says that, look at this, Narayana Parasarve, na kudaschana bibhyati, swarga apavarga narakeshu, apitulyartha darshanam. So for the devotee, going to hell is not such a big problem, because he will find out some devotional service there. He will create some devotional service even in the hell. But in the Brahma Jyoti, there is absolutely no service. And devotee cannot stay without service. And that's why it is considered worse than hell. Other four liberations, like Salokya, promoted to the same planet, Samipya, being close associate with the Lord, Sarupya, having the same bodily features as the Lord, and having the same opulence of the Lord, all these are accepted. Except this Ekatmata. Prabhupada says, devotee will never aspire. This is aspired by Mayavadis. They will be thinking that, aham brahmasmi, namo narayana. They will say, danda grahana matrena, naro narayano bhavet. That you have simply accepted sannyas means now you have become Narayan. You have just realized you have become Narayan. That's it. And then you have already Narayan, like that it is. Prabhupada says sometimes the so-called devotees, many so-called devotees, so Prabhupada here talks about the Sahaji people, or those who do not have very clear understanding of spiritual life. They have this idea that, ultimately the God is formless and you can worship any form that comes to your mind, because this form is just a stepping stone. And once you liberated, form is gone and you realize you are only the Supreme. Okay. So this is the grand misconception. And this misconception is completely eliminated by the Lord here by saying, Naikatmatame spruhayanti kechit. My dear mother, my devotees never aspire to become one with me, never aspire to merge in me. And that's why Prabhupada writes that's why Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara, he intentionally did not touch Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for the commentary. Right? He touched Bhagavad Gita, gave Sharirik Bhashya, trying to, some Tor Monorke, trying to give some impersonalistic meaning. Of course, he had a great plan to do that, to get Vedas back in the people's life. So that was according to the plan of the Lord. But he intentionally did not touch Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Prabhupada writes this because he realized it will be extremely difficult to surpass the natural commentary of Vedavyas. What translation you will give here clearly talks about Naikat Matame Spruhayanti Kechan, that my devotee never aspires to merge with me. Right? Prabhupada says, in fact, for the devotees, service to Lord is their greatest asset. Devotees are always thinking about how to serve Him. They are always designing ways and means to serve the Supreme Lord, even in the midst of the greatest obstacles of material existence. So material existence, it is going to have the roller coaster ride. Our karmas, our own kundali, graha, all are going to affect us. Of course, we have become devotees, and based on the intensity of our devotional service, the things may vary. If results may vary, and they will be minimized for sure, but still we are coming with a huge backlog of a karma. And we are going to go through many tribulations in our life, but a devotee of the Lord is always fixed in those tribulations. Right? And that's where, Lord Shiva says, Narayana Parasarve, na kutaschana bibhyati, swarga apavarga narakeshu. Swarga, we may be sometimes in a heavenly position. That means things are happening just the way we want. We got the exact salary hike, we got the exact job change. All our, the blind hits are also doing a jackpot. Those times will come. Everything we do just is turning into mess. Those times will also come, and some neutral times will also come. And devotee is ready to face all those times, all the while always being engaged in the devotional service. Right? Classical example of this is Pandavas or Parikshit Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj. These personalities in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, they have exemplified this. Further, Srila Prabhupada explains, Mayavadis accept the description of the pastimes of the Lord as mithya. They say, हाँ ये बच्चे लोग हैं भक्त वाले, उनको कुछ तो चाहिए. They cannot, their minds are not expanded enough to understand the ultimate is absolute is formless, and therefore they need some story. Just like बच्चों के लिए you need some story. बच्चों को सुलाने के लिए you need some story. Like that, these bhaktas also, they need some story so that they will be titillated by understanding their story, understanding the story. But we are, we are the jnanis. We can directly understand the Vedanta. And this is how they are fooled by the material nature. And that's why Prabhupada calls it, this is the last snare of Maya. Right? But these are Mama Paurushani. Why Mama Paurushani? Because these are the activities, these are the devotees are very much attached to glorifying activities of the Supreme Lord. Devotees will never stop glorifying the activities of the Lord. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, they delivered Jagai and Madai. How Prahlad Maharaj is pleasing Narsingadev. This is their life and soul. Later it will come, that Bhagavata is the life and soul of a devotee Bhagavat. And therefore, this impersonalist, because they themselves are leading such a dry, speculative life, they will also try to give some dry, speculative meaning to pastimes of the Supreme Lord by misinterpreting the pastimes. They will say, yeah, for you, Pandavas are the person, but for us, Pandavas are the 5 senses of the body. Intellect is Kṛṣṇa, and when senses are not in control, and the desires are the Kauravas, so there are so many desires, and the senses are fighting with the desires, and when they are Viveka Buddhi is Jagrat by the intelligence, which is called as Kṛṣṇa, and then the senses can win over, and all kind of garbage explanation people will give in the name of interpretation. And that is the reason why devotee should not read such nonsensical literature. It's very important. It's very important to be sticking to one path. Radhesham Prabhu, he always says one beautiful statement. He says this, respect all, listen few, follow one. Right? And who is that one we are following? Srila Prabhupada. Right? So one has to filter down one's, the content receiving. It is not that we are just going on some Lakshmi Road or Tulsi Bagh and shopping some content always. Ye sun liya, wo sun liya, and we are hearing from this Dada, Baba, Amma, Atya, Mama, Kaka, Chacha. No. I mean, with all great respect, I'm talking this. But a devotee of the Lord is very, very careful what spiritual inputs he is receiving, because every input is going to affect him and his devotional service. Prabhupada says, these are the people who are doing greatest disservice and misleading the innocent public. Therefore, they are very dangerous to public. And Lord Chaitanya warned never to associate with such Mayavadis. Mayavada bhashya shunile hai sarvanash. Mayavadi, Kṛṣṇa Aparadhi. And they will do such crazy kind of research. Yesterday, I came across a research paper because we keep doing some research stuff. So there they are calculating, they are saying that can you believe what the research currently they are doing? They are doing the research that how the cockroach milk is better than the cow milk. And this entire, at least that domain scientific community is involved in milking the cockroaches. And this is how, just imagine, we are just the first 5,000 years of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Later part of Kali Yuga is going to be so horrible, horrendous it is going to be. And this is all due to such misguided intelligence, right? And Prabhupada says, those who are hearing such people will never able to come to path of bhakti. What can be greatest disservice than depriving a living entity, Jiva, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, from performing devotional service? And that's why Mayavadis are greatest offenders, right? Their activities are very captivating, but their intentions are extremely disastrous, very, very sinful criminal intentions, and therefore a devotee will respectfully avoid their association, right? Respect is very important, but at the same time, respectfully keeping a distance. Further, Srila Prabhupada says that bhakti activities or the devotional service, they are transcendental to mukti. And therefore, bhakti is called as Panchama Purushartha. There are 4 Purushartha. Which are these 4? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are 4 Purusharthas. But beyond this, there is another Purushartha which is called as Prema Puvartho Mahan. Kṛṣṇa Prema Pradayate. Right? Bhakti. Therefore, bhakti is called as Panchama Purushartha, and it is transcendental to all this Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And similarly, the literature which is describing bhakti is also transcendental. And therefore Bhagavatam, the very, very first slokas of Bhagavatam, this illusory or this kind of a Kaitava dharma is completely rejected. Projita Kaitavotra Paramo Nirmat-saranam Satam. So Kaitava dharma is kicked out at the beginning of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And this one of the Kaitava dharma is desire to become one with God. And this is completely rejected in Bhagavatam. Naikat matame spruhayanti kechit. And therefore, Bhagavatam is meant only for pure devotee. This is called as Paramahamsa Samhita. Nirvatsaranam Satam, right? Those who are always engaged in Krishna conscious activities, they will always glorify the Lord and worship the transcendental activities of the Lord in Vrindavan, Dwaraka, and Mathura, which are the great and worshipable subject matter. And Prabhupada says, this is the difference between Mayavadi and a pure devotee. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandot
Thank you,
Pranam.
Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. This Sahaja, other kind of devotee, when they attend the mukti, is liberation, is a forever they there or they come back again?
No, they have to come back again because they are not engaged there, right? Living entity means engagement. And because this Brahman merging, there is no engagement. So because there is no engagement, they will look for engagement. And generally they will look for material engagement because they have not developed taste for spiritual engagement. So they will come back. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.